Hey booktubers, I'm now into my adult and fantasy books for my catch-up hauls, and I have lots and lots to show you, so let's get started. This is a series of books called The Artifacts of Power by Maggie Furey, I believe it's, or Fury, F-U-R-E-Y. The first book is Aurian. And I bought these in mass market paperback because they're difficult to find. This one was published in 1994, I believe. The actual well, that's the copyright, reprinted in 1999. So I went ahead and got the mass market paperbacks. I don't recall why I wanted to read this series, but it is high fantasy. I think the covers are really neat. Book 2 is Harp of Winds. Book 3 is The Sword of Flame. Book 4 is, if I can pronounce this correctly, Diamora. Looks like that. This is Book 2 in the Neverwinter Saga by R.A. Salvatore, or Salvatore, I'm not sure how he says that name. But this book, or this writer, is one of my favorite fantasy writers. And I've read his Demon Trilogy series. So, yeah, really cool cover on that. The first book, I believe, is called, this one's called Neverwinter. Book 1, I think, is called Guantelgrim or something like that. I was at this is an adult book. I was at a little book sale that we had at the hospital that I work in. They have a book sale once or twice a year for the foundation. And I bought a couple things. It's just a little paperback of Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, which is a book I do not have. And I was interested in reading that. And the print is, yeah, pretty small. But that's what you get when you read mass market paperbacks. Here is a 3D bookmark I got. This one is not quite as nice as some of the other ones that I've been collecting. This one is called Avian World by Howard Robinson, bookmarktrends.com. Well, this one is too. But the ones I usually get are by Royce B. McClure, and it isn't quite as it's a really neat subject. I love the birds, but here's one, for example, by Royce McClure, and you can see the 3D in it is absolutely just more phenomenal. And then this is another one by Royce McClure. This is Dragon. And I think, is it Eon and Iona, I believe, are dragon books, if I'm not mistaken. And I will use this bookmark when I read those. This is a bind-up of short stories by Isaac Asimov. It says The Complete Stories, Volume 1. And I understand there is also a Volume 2. This one has about 600 pages. And yeah, but it's obviously Isaac Asimov is science fiction. So there's the back. The back is pretty cool also. Here's an adult book. I believe this is an adult book. The Language of Flowers by Vanessa Diefenbaugh. Really, really neat cover. The Victorian language of flowers was used to convey romantic expressions. Honeysuckle for devotion, asters for patience, red roses for love. But for Victoria Jones, it's been more useful in communicating grief, mistrust, and solitude. After a childhood spent in the foster care system, she is unable to get close to anybody, and her only connection to the world is through flowers and their meanings. And it goes on and on and on. But anyway, I thought that was a really, really beautiful book. Now here's another book called Forbidden, and it's not the Forbidden that everybody's buying right now. This is by Ted Decker and Tosca Lee. It's called The Books of Mortals, Forbidden. And this one sounded really interesting. It's an apocalyptic It says, many years have passed since civilization's brush with apocalypse. The world's greatest threats have all been silenced. There is no anger, no hatred, no war. There is only perfect peace and fear. But a terrible secret has been closely guarded for centuries. Every single soul walking the earth, though in appearance totally normal, is actually dead, long ago genetically stripped of their true humanity. This is book 4, I believe, in the Flavia de Luce mystery novels. The first one is The Sweetness at the Bottom of the Pie. And I have all three of I have the first 3 books. I have not started to read them yet, but they are lighthearted, funny, humorous mysteries involving this girl named Flavia de Luce, which I believe she's 12 years old. So I have a series of Christmas books here. I kind of went crazy on the Christmas books. I don't know why, and I know I won't read them all this year. So because I'm going to read Dash and Lily's next. But this is Anne Perry, A Christmas Homecoming. Of course, why do I buy these? The covers. I'm sure the stories are good too. A Killer's Christmas in Wales by Elizabeth J. Duncan. Mrs. Jeffries and the Mistletoe Mix-Up. And Mrs. Jeffries is a whole series of books by Emily Brightwell. And this is apparently one of her Christmas ones. It looks rather humorous. It says a Victorian mystery at the top. This one is paperback. It's Herald of Death by Kate Kingsbury. It says never before published. It says a special Pennyfoot hotel mystery, and I'm pretty sure that Kate Kingsbury has a whole series of Pennyfoot hotel mysteries out. Let's see, this one is a fantasy book. The Mammoth Book, oh no, yeah, it is a fantasy, but it's short stories. The Mammoth Book of Sorcerer's Tales. And I'm trying to think if somebody hauled this. Who knows? Someone may have hauled it or showed it in their like a bookshelf tour or something. And yeah, it's kind of a dark picture there. It says edited by Mike Ashley, and it's a whole bunch of different authors here. It says Tom Holt, Ursula K. Le Guin, Peter Crowther, Louise Cooper, and many more. So yeah, this is an adult book, adult fiction, The Hotel New Hampshire by John Irving, and this is a hardcover. And I actually found a first edition. This is a 1981. It's a used book, of course. It has the duckle edge, and it's in really very, very good condition. I can't remember where I heard about this book, but it obviously caught my interest. So this is another used book that I got. I wanted to get this one in hardcover if I could find it. It's not in great condition. Brandon Sanderson, The Way of Kings. This is book 1 of the Stormlight Archive. So this is actually, yes, a fantasy novel. And I remember something about this. You can see a king standing here, and there's another one here. And there is like wasteland, or these canyons between the land, you can see. And there are different types of workers or people or something that create bridges across, and then they can fight or whatever they need to do. I don't know if they probably trade and fight and everything else. It just sounded really interesting. It's a humongous book, but like I say, it is not in very good condition. It's quite, the spine is kind of broken a little bit, but, and this is even quite small text. So I didn't really want to get it in a mass market paperback, so I just kind of found one that was in fairly good condition. The jacket's in great condition. This is a series of mysteries that I thought looked really neat. This one's called The Ale House Murders by Maureen Ash. It's a Templar Night mystery, and I'm pretty sure this is book 1. There's like a series of these out, and this is a paperback. I think I probably got the paperback because it was either only available in paperback or I liked the cover better on the paperback. So I got a couple Ray Bradbury books. I think I've seen some people haul these recently, and these new ones out. I'm trying to think who is the publisher here. Let's see. William Morrow is the publisher. And they're kind of like reissuing these books, but the covers are really neat. They're kind of a small format book, but they just really are cool looking. This one is Something Wicked This Way Comes. And I also picked up The Illustrated Man. Isn't that a really neat cover? In the back, and you can see there's they have different ones by Ray there. This is an older book. I've been kind of talking about this author recently, or thinking about this author. I might have done some comments on people's videos for him. But this is Hotel by Arthur Haley. And he also wrote another book, very famous book called Airport, which I'm going to get that too. This is just a mass market used paperback. And this was, I'm on a hotel kick with the Hotel New Hampshire. You can tell that, can't you? This one was 1965 it was first written. But there was a TV series, I believe, back in the early 80s that was based on this book. I have read, I think, one book, or yeah, almost one book. We'll just say the first book of Louis L'Amour, and he writes westerns. But I really like his writing style. The first book, I can't remember what it's called right now because, of course, I'm making a video, so I can't think of it. But this one here is his The Frontier Stories, Volume 1, so it's a collection of short stories. That concludes this video for some adult and some high fantasy books. My next book hauls will be, I have some nonfiction like history books, specialty books like the Easton Press and that. That'll all be coming up in next set of videos. So I hope you enjoyed this. Bye-bye.